Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dear students, this is your Professor Nadeem Ahmad, and we are over here in the class of the money in banking and finance. Students, in the last lecture, we studied about the types of the banks, in which different sort of the banks were discussed in the previous lecture, and you have covered the commercial banks as well, and in which we discussed about the functions of the commercial banks. So today's lecture is about the products, what commercial banks or the other banks are just offering to us. And specifically, today's lecture would be consisting of two things. One is the products and the services which are offered by the commercial banks or the other. And the second would be regarding the central bank and its functions. So with the name of the Holy Allah, we are going to start our lectures today. Students, that's in front of you. I'm just going to display. Yes. So it's going to be shown in front of you. Uh, this is about banks, products, and the services. Basically, we talked about the product of the bank. Uh, Once I just told you, a bank provides you the money-related things. But now the diversification of the bank's duties and the liabilities and its functions, that has been a little bit broader in sense. So now bank is providing us a number of things, such as the products and you say goods and then services in the form of the tangible and the intangible things. So the main root of this bank services is directly related with the finance or the money. So all of these incentives or the services which a bank can provide us, so we are supposed to discuss about all those. So now this is banks offered products. The different products in the bank can be broadly classified into three main parts: retail banking, trade finance, and the treasury operations. Again, I'm just repeating for you: retail banking, trade finance, and the treasury operations. Retail banking and the trade finance operations are conducted at the branch level, while the wholesale banking operations, which cover treasury operations, are at the head office or the designated branch. So, as we just told you, some sort of functions are performed at the head office level, and the others are just providing you at the retail outlets. Retail banking, what sort of the retail banking is offering us? They just offer us for deposits. Students, as we know, our money is our asset. So we can we just have it. Bank offers us to deposit our money to the banks as a safe custody. So often we deposit our money into the bank. The different sort of the means the bank accounts are there. Then loans, cash credit, and overdraft. On the meanwhile, inshallah, I will try my level best to explain all these terms later on to you. Then negotiating for loans. Negotiating for loans. You will have to just negotiate on the loans, whether in the short run or the long run, whatsoever. Then remittances are there. It provides us a remittance facility. Then bookkeeping. You'll have to just keep all the records what we are just doing as a transaction with the banks and the other means institutions are there. Trade finance issuing and the confirming of the letter of the credit. It is directly related with the import and export. LC, we can just call it letter of credit. Then drawing, accepting, discounting, buying, selling, collecting of the bills of exchange, promissory notes, drafts, bills of lading, and other securities are there. Basically, this is a facility which is going to be from the bank side to the businessman and the other people are involved in that matter. So this is a trade finance. Then the third one, which was basically the offer by the banks, this is treasury operations. So this is buying and selling of the bullion, acquiring holding, underwriting and the dealing in the shares and the debentures. This is all the things which are related with the corporate sector, where shares and debentures, it's being on. And what about the shares and the debentures? Everybody knows in the business sector. So you can understand. The banks can also act as an agent of the government or the local authority. This is true. Uh, as we know, semi-government banks are there. The Bank of Punjab, it's a semi-government, and the National Bank, which is representative of the government. So they just act like both of these parties, and they ensure, guarantee, underwrite, participate in managing and the carrying out of the issue of the shares, debentures, etc., etc. They are just working right from the government side and from the customer side as well. So, a couple of means roles they are just performing. The bank provides a whole lot of other services like investment counseling for individuals. Sometimes आपने कहा investment करनी होती है, that everything would be provided to you by the bank. Short-term funds management is there, and the portfolio management for the individuals and the companies. It undertakes the inward and the outward remittances with the reference to the foreign exchange and the collection of the varied types of the government. And these are the things which bank provide you. Banking products available. Number one, the credit card. As we are just buying different things from the market, so whether if you are just paying in cash, so it is not related with the bank at all. So only we just buy the things on credit on such basis. Bank provides you a guarantee to the those people from where we are just buying the things. The bank says, okay जी ठीक है, अगर ये पैसे इनके पास नहीं है तो I am just liable for that. So on उनके behalf पे जो है वो credit card issue कर देते हैं. The credit card is a postpaid or the pay later card that draws from the credit line money made available by the card issuer, जो कि बैंक होता है, and gives one a grace period to pay if the amount is not paid full by the end of the period. One is charged interest, and if we are just not in a position to pay a specific time period is there now. That is, I think, 55 days are there. So suppose if you are unable to pay the amount within the specific time period, which I just told you, 55 days, the bank would charge interest on it. So the penalty, as a penalty, they would charge. Then, other than the credit card, there are debit cards. Debit cards, which can be the ATM cards as well. Debit card is a prepaid or the pay now card with the sum stored value. Debit cards quickly debit or the subtract money from one's savings account, or if one were taking out cash. It's not only the saving account; it can be the current account. So it works like hot cash. It can be means deducted from our bank account at once when it swipes. A specific amount is deducted from it. So that is a debit card. Every time a person uses the card, the merchant who is done can get the money transferred to his account from the bank of the buyers by the debiting an exact amount of the purchase from the card. As I just told you, to get a debit card along with a personal identification number, means the PIN is being allotted to you. So you will have to just put a PIN over there. Automatic teller machine, which is well renowned as a ATM. The ATMs are used by the banks for the making the customers dealing easier. It allows the customers to transfer money to and from the accounts, the view account information, to order cash, to receive cash, and these are the things which an ATM can provide you. Electronic fund transfer, now this is EFT. We can transfer our funds from one place to another, from one account to another. It automatically transfers money from one account to another address. Then telebanking is there. Telebanking refers to the banking on the phone services. Yes, now it's available as we are just using the smartphones. So this is a very common facility which bank provides you. Then mobile banking is there. A new revolution, the realm of e-banking is the emergence of the mobile banking. Online banking is now moving to the mobile world, giving everybody with a mobile phone access to real-time banking services, regardless of their location. Wherever you are just locating, whether in a city, in a big city, or in a little bit rural area is there. So now you can just handle your account everywhere. Then internet banking is there. Yes, if you are sitting in front of the computer, you can just handle your account through internet. The internet banking involves use of the internet for the delivery of the banking products and the services. Now, paying of the bills, getting the easy load, and purchasing a lot of things, paying off your online purchases, whatsoever. Transactions you are just making. So you can do just because of the internet banking. Benefits of the internet banking, a lot of benefits are there. Some of them just over here in front of you. Reduce the transactions cost of the offering several banking services and diminishes the need for the longer numbers of the expensive brick and the mortar branches and the staff. Increase convenience for the customers since they can conduct many banking transactions 24 hours a day. Yes, anytime. Now it's 24/7 job of the banks. So internet banking is 24-hour available for you, and you can just make transactions at any time. That increases customer loyalty. After getting these services and these products, so what happens now? You are just feeling a little bit relaxed, just because um, your functions, your business activities, they are not affected by the time. There used to be the time in the past. I think 9 to 5 was the timing, and during that timing, means that people used to transact. Otherwise, rather than the involvement of the bank was not there. But over here, uh, the situation is entirely different. That has been 24 hour. You can just make transactions 24 hour. Increase customer loyalty. Number one is there. Now we are the loyal customer of the banks. Everybody is going to be loyal to the banks. Now improve customers access. Yes, we can uh, have access to the bank easily and around the clock. Attract new customers. Yes, new customers are being attracted. I would let you know some sort of the rural areas customers. They were not means directly related with the banking transactions. So now they are also a part of the banks. They are dealing with the banks easily because the system has been very user friendly. So that's why they are just interacting with each other. Easy online application for all the accounts, including personal loans and the mortgages. People use it the mortgage, no, it's a mortgage नहीं, mortgages है. तो इसमें आप application जो accounts वगैरह के हवाले से दे सकते हो. You can just put your means precious application for that for any reason for the loan and stuff like that. You can just have different packages from the bank as well. Then banking services. Banking covers many services. These basic services have always been recognized as the hallmark of the genuine banker. These are number one by one. You will have to just go through the receipt of the customer's deposits, the collection of the checks drawn on other banks, the payment of the customer's checks drawn on him. By all means, whether you are supposed to pay the money or you are supposed to receive the money from different areas of the say, country and whatsoever, the outside the countries are there. So you can just do these transactions through banking services. Various types of the banking services are there. Ji. Advances, what sort of advances the bank provides you? That is in the form of the overdraft. You can draft the bank amount on your account, basically. आपके अकाउंट जो होता है तो उसी के ऊपर अगर आप if you need more than the amount which you are just having in your current account or saving account whatsoever, so you can just withdraw more money other than your principal amount. So bank would charge a little bit amount on that, but on the credibility के ऊपर ये सारा depend करता है. Now cash credit is there. You can just have the cash credit from the bank, and then deposits, saving account hai, current account hai, we can just deposit our money into these accounts. We can deposit our money in a current account and in a saving account. But the difference between these two accounts are, in a current account we can withdraw, we can deposit money anytime, but no charges would be there. But if we talk about the saving account, only I think two transactions can be made in a week. Like it's a compulsion by the bank, maybe. And on saving account, bank provides you a little bit interest on it. Then financial services are there, which is in the form of discounting of the bills of exchange. I'm just talking about foreign services, providing foreign currency, travelers checks, etc., etc. These are the facilities which are given by the bank to the customers or the clients. Then money transmissions, you can uh, transfer your funds from one place to another, from one account to another. So this is basically the money transmissions. Savings, fixed deposits, you can put your savings into one account, and that is a fixed deposit account, or you can just put into the saving account as well. Then services of the place or the time, now ATM services are there. Status or debit cards, credit card. These are the things which the services main, the function or the bank can provide you. List of the banks in the Philippines, and I'm just talking about the Philippines bank and stuff like that. So these are the basically sources where the different sort of information have been gathered. So I think over here you have covered all these facts in which the different products or the services were discussed, which a bank can provide you, and you can just have this benefit out of it. So now, students, the second part, which is very important one, as we have discussed, the central bank or the state bank, what sort of the functions it provides you. Central bank basically is a banker of the banks, as a father of the banks, etc., etc. Basically, the monetary policy, which is controlled by an authority, we just call it as a central bank. Every country has a central bank. Only one bank would be considered as uh, the sole bank or the sole authority, which controls all the other banks working inside the country. So in our country, as we are residing in Pakistan, so our central bank has been called a State Bank of Pakistan, SBP. And what are the rules? What are the functions of the State Bank or the central bank can be there? We are here to discuss about all those functions and rules. Central bank. A central bank or the monetary authority is a monopolized and often nationalized institution given privileges control over the production and the distribution of the money and the credit. In modern economies, the central bank is usually responsible for the formulation of monetary policy and the regulation of the member banks. As I just told you, the sole authority to launch the monetary policy in an economy, that is the state bank or the central bank of a country. So now this is the building of the state bank. So always remember, you are not supposed to remember the building of the state bank. You will have to just quote into the paper and stuff like that. It's not so. Okay, ji. This is about the history of the state bank, which gives you this a little bit knowledge regarding this. Under the State Bank of the Pakistan Act 1956, which gives the bank the authority to functions as a central bank of the country. The SBP Act mandates the bank of the regulate the monetary and the credit system of the Pakistan, and it also allow to foster its growth in the best national interest with a view to securing monetary stability and the fuller utilization of the country's productive resources. Uh, Here, this is basically the role of the central bank that provides the full potential to the basically development of the country. How we can just do, how can we just utilize our resources in the optimum level? So this is the function of the central bank, and same is the case with the state bank as well. So under an act, it was a specific act made for the central bank, and that was in 1956. So it's all about the monetary and budgeting and the stuff like that to make our country developed and grown up. So this is the basically function of the central bank as well. So this is a little bit brief introduction of central bank or the state bank of the Pakistan. So while its constitution as originally laid down in the State Bank of the Pakistan Order 1948, it was written over there, remained basically unchanged until January 1st, 1974. It was unchanged. Means during that scenario, it was running as it was written over there in 1948. When the bank was nationalized, basically it was nationalized over there in 1974. The headquarters are located in the financial capital of the Pakistan, Karachi, with its second headquarters in the capital, Islamabad. You know that the first one was a different one than now it's in Islamabad. Organizational structure of the SBP board of the directors. This is basically a structural phenomena. When we just talk about an artificial person or any business entity, so we just talk about the organizational structure. Same is the case with the SBP is there now. The central board consists of the 9 members. Basically, there are 9 members. The governor, who is the chairman. Have you ever noticed it is written on every currency note, whether it's a 10 rupee, it's a 20, it's a 50, 100, and so on. Like, so it would be mentioned over there, the governor, the name of the governor, and that is the chairman of the state bank as well. One is the secretary finance division, 7 डायरेक्टर्स इंक्लूडिंग 1 डायरेक्टर फ्रॉम ईच प्रोविंस. याद रखिएगा कि हर एक प्रोविंस से एक हमने वो डायरेक्टर को लेना होता है, nominated by the federal government, which are nominated by the federal government. The federal government is announced करती. Then directors are appointed for the terms of up to 3 years. 3 साल के लिए elect होते हैं. Then deputy governors of the bank may also attend the meeting of the board if required. मतलब अगर नहीं है तो in lieu of that they can just attend the meeting. But they do not have the right to vote. Always remember. Meeting to attend कर सकते हैं, but they cannot vote. If the elections are there and if the vote is required over there, they cannot vote for that. Then currently the principal officer of the SBP is Tariq Bajwa since the year 2000. Just talking about the 2017, he was basically the principal officer of that time. So now it has been changed now. Measuring the money supply by the State Bank of the Pakistan. Do you remember once we just discussed about the types of the money, M1, M2, M3, and so on. So ये motorway वाला M1 नहीं है, it's slightly different. So money की जो हमने types पढ़ी थी कि hot cash क्या होता है and so on. ये उसकी बात है. So narrow measure of the money, that is money 1. The broader measure of the money, that is M2. Always remember. You one by one आपके साथ आ जाएगा. So narrow measure of the money, which is the M1, demand deposits at scheduled bank 75%. These are the basically rules and the principles which can be levied by the central bank on the different commercial banks and the other banks. Then currency in the circulation only 23%, and the other deposits are 2%. And this is a scenario under these circumstances, bank can work in a better way. Same as the case of the broader measure of the money, M2, which is M1, 86%, which is we have just studied earlier before. And time deposits at scheduled banks, 9%. Again, I would say time deposit at scheduled banks, 9%. And deposit at the resident foreign banks, which are located inside your country. So that depends upon the 5%. So this is what we have just done. 86% the M1 pe tha, and the 14% rest of the things are there. So it means 100% uh, the composition of your money circulation is there. And what are the functions of the SBP? Now you are supposed to discuss about all these things. अब वो क्या कौन कौन से हैं वो आपने जरा गौर से देख लेने हैं. नंबर वन पे वो कहता है ट्रेडिशनल फंक्शन. एवरीबडी नो यार ट्रेडिशनल फंक्शंस क्या होता है. एक उसका प्राइमरी फंक्शन होता है, एक उसका सेकेंडरी फंक्शन होता है. ये उसका ट्रेडिशनल फंक्शंस है. एंड द सेकंड वन नॉन ट्रेडिशनल, which is not primary nor secondary. Let's talk about primary functions. Issuance of the notes. As we know, if we are just having a different currency note in our country, so this is just under the sanctions of the state bank. No other department is there who can issue this currency notes. Remember, whether it's a treasury department is there, they are not eligible for that because autonomous इदारा जो हमारे मुल्क में है, that is state bank, जिसके पास sole authority to produce or issue currency notes. Then conduct monetary policy. As I just told you, in our country or in every country, the sole authority of making the monetary policy is in the hands of central bank. But in Pakistan, our state bank is liable for that to make a monetary policy. The regulations and the supervision of the financial systems. Yes, whatsoever the percentages are there, discounts are there, reserves are there, what sort of means mortgages you are just going to make. This is basically the functions and the guidance of a central bank. And without the permission of a central bank, not a single bank is in a position to change its policy because the supreme authority regarding the monetary policy is in the hand of central bank. So this is what I'm just talking about. Then bankers bank, yes, that's why it's called the bankers bank. As we are having different accounts in the different banks, whether in the form of the current account, whether in the saving account or fixed whatsoever. So Bank of Punjab, Alfla Bank, MCB, UBL, National Bank, Habib Bank, etc., etc., etc. If we are just having a different accounts in the different banks, so that would be our banker because our accounts are there. And same is the case with the central bank. Every bank, whether it's a private or the government whatsoever, they are having their accounts with the central bank. तो इसीलिए जो सेंट्रल बैंक है वो इन बैंक्स का बैंकर है, मेन बैंक्स. The same is the case. And the second one is the lender of the last resort. That is for the government. And if the government is not having any source financial assistance and stuff like that, so this is the only way. This is the only place and this is the only institute where government can take money from. That's why it's a lender of the last resort. जहाँ कहीं भी ना कुछ बन रहा हो तो यही सिर्फ आपका होगा. That's why it's a last resort for the government. Then banker to the government. Same is the case. If the government is having its account, government के भी accounts होते हैं. वो कहाँ पे होते हैं? वो इर्द गिर्द के दूसरे कमर्शियल बैंक्स के साथ डील नहीं करते. They just have the relationship with the central bank. So same as the case as a banker to government as well. I hope everybody is getting what I'm just talking about. Then issuance of the notes. How can we just issue the notes? I'm just talking about with the reference to the bank from the state bank eyes. Regulate the currency accordance with the business and the general public need. You know, uh, after the survey, after getting the feedback from the people and the banks as well. So central bank knows what sort of the means a currency and what sort of the ratio must be there in the society in the economy. So this is just because of the business and the general public need according to that. Then issuing affairs conducted by two national separate departments. There are two different departments which just uh, allow us to do that. Number one, hey, issuing department which deals with the notes. Yes, वो notes के साथ है. Then banking department deals with the general banking. They are just dealing with the affairs of the banking and the stuff like that. But the issuing department would be responsible for issuance of the notes. Just and they just do their own job. They cannot avoid their own job. They cannot interfere into others' department. जिस जिनका काम होता है वो वही काम करते हैं. Then assets of the issue department are in the form of the gold coin, gold bullion, and the silver bullion. Like these are the things which they just talk about. हमारे पास यही वाली होती हैं. Remainder in the form of the rupee coins, rupee securities, internal bills of the exchange, and the other commercial papers eligible for the purchase. These are things. Conduct of the monetary and the credit policy. It's a regulate monetary and the credit system. ये मॉनेटरी और क्रेडिट सिस्टम को जो है वो डील करता है ना. हाउ कैन वी जस्ट कंट्रोल ओवर मॉनेटरी एंड द क्रेडिट सिस्टम. अभी आपने देखा होगा समटाइम्स आपकी रेशियोज ज्यादा हो जाती है, इंटरेस्ट रेशियोज एंड सो ऑन. लाइक सी अप्स एंड डाउन्स, दीज आर जस्ट इन द पॉलिसी व्हाट सेंट्रल बैंक प्रमोट्स. Then central board of the bank formulate and the monitor it by taking into account federal government's target is according to the means, what they have settled for that. They just act upon that. Then ensure its flow to the priority sectors. Yes, where they just see the lacking, their need, they just provide these stuffs to them. Otherwise, as we know कि जो ज्यादा भूखा है डिपार्टमेंट या जो जगह है जिसको ज्यादा पैसों की जरूरत होती है, they provides funds to that area. Same is the case with the central bank policies, which is to काम करते हैं. Then better regulation and the supervision of the financial system. Every financial system, what we are just adopting and in the economy is going on, it's under the supervision of the um, bank. According to the Banking Companies Ordinance, regulate and supervise the activities of the bank. Autonomy to the SB in area of banking supervision. 40 scheduled bank are regulated and supervised by the SB. इसके अंडर काम करते हैं 40 scheduled banks. Always remember, it can be the form of the MCQs and stuff like. Off-site and the on-site monitoring is off-site conducted by the SB through various periodical returns received from the banks and the PFIs, whereas on-site is undertaken on the premises of the concerned banks. Whatsoever means the equipments or the assets bank can have with the central bank, it can be assumed by them. Otherwise, periodical उसके जो exchange होती हैं, उनके जो turning in and outs होते हैं, उससे जांचा जाता है इसको. Then prudential regulations requires financial firms to control risk and the hold educate capital and the defined by the capital requirements. कितना कितना उन्होंने फंड अपने पास रखना है और कितना उन्होंने उसको वापस देना है और रिजर्व के हवाले से उसको रेगुलेट करना है. And this is all the means central bank's function. Without the consent of the central bank, what it provides you, nobody can do anything like that. We cannot um, अपने बस से बाहर की बात नहीं कर सकते हम लोग। तो दिस इज अंडर द हैंड्स ऑफ central bank only. Back to the government, yes, as a financial agent, collect taxes and the other payments on the behalf of the government. एस जो एफपीआर के जो सारा सिस्टम होते हैं, सब अकाउंट्स किसके पास होते हैं? सेंट्रल बैंक के पास होते हैं. So that's why, as a financial agent, it collects taxes and the other payments. Then repaying external debts. Suppose to the World Bank, to the IMF, if we are supposed to pay back the money to them, so this is only just through the central bank, which is a state bank. As a banker to the government, they keep government deposits. Now, it keep गवर्नमेंट के जितने भी हैं अकाउंट्स अपने पास रखता है, उसके डिपॉजिट्स अपने पास रखता है. शॉर्ट टर्म एडवांसेस टू द गवर्नमेंट, इफ गवर्नमेंट नीड्स any sort of the short term loan, the central bank provides you the loan short term, then provides foreign exchange for purchasing foreign goods, repaying goods, etc., etc. These are the functions of a banker to the government. Then repaying external debts, as I just told you, अगर आपने कहीं बाहर से कर्ज लिए हुए हैं या दूसरे वाले डिपार्टमेंट से लिए हुए हैं, whatever, so it repays on the behalf of the government. Secondary functions, which I just told you, the public debt management, management foreign exchange, and advisor to government. These are these secondary functions. What State Bank performs on the behalf of the sole authority of our country, which is State Bank of Pakistan. Public debt management कैसे करता है जी? Also called government debt or the national debts. जितने भी हैं उसको डील करेगा. This may be owned by the either federal or the provincial government. ये चाहे फेडरल भी हो सकती है और आपके प्रोविंशियल सूबाई तौर पर भी हो सकता है on the different sector. Manage the public debt, SBP set Securities Department in December 1919, and that was the day, I think they are just mentioning, in 1990 they established this one. Methods for debt share. This is issuing bonds. ये bonds issue करके जो है ना उसको वो कर सकता है, debts को भी जो है ना neutralize कर सकता है. Then issuing securities, now they can just issue the security, as we have discussed earlier in the money sector. हमने वो social जो इसकी जो government securities होती हैं उसको हमने discuss किया था. And now जी by offering bills like negotiable instruments के तौर पर जो है. Low economy countries get the loan from super nations. Yes, as we are just having a loan from the different economies like America and stuff like that. So this is just because of this one. So State Bank helps us in this scenario. Management of the foreign exchange and how it deals with that. State Bank is responsible for external value of the currency. Now, if we just talk about the dollar is getting the 160 and 165 or whatsoever. So only the State Bank is responsible for that as external value. It's going to be devalued. State Bank is responsible. It's going to be upward responsible. State Bank होएगा. Reserve and manage the exchange control. Yes, this is also the job of the State Bank. Then fixing value of the currency. This is management of the foreign exchange. Check currencies flight in and out. As money laundering is being on nowadays, everybody just is discussing about Nawaz Sharif is having money. So they are just getting it out from our economy. So who allows? But this is the simplest question here. I'm not talking about the politics over here, but this is a simple question. If the central bank is there, it has a sole authority to keep the reserve over here, and who is managing that means the money. They are just getting money out of this country. But how? Who is responsible? So definitely, the State Bank is responsible for that. And who allows? Maybe governor, governor of State Bank of Pakistan. No other person can be involved. These are the things. Then, agent of the government, Pakistan's representative with the IMF and the World Bank here. Now, if we just talk about the externality, all over the world, on the global level, if the finance is being there on the behalf of the Pakistan, State Bank represents Pakistan's economy. The need is there. IMF is asking for its loan back, and State Bank would answer that. If they are just providing us a loan, aids, etc., etc., so State Bank is directly involved in that. Otherwise, the commercial banks and the other different banks are not a part of this. So this is sole authority. Advisor to the government, what sort of the functions State Bank can perform as an advisor to the government? This is provide advice on loan operations, agricultural credit, industrial finance, exchange regulations, banking and the credit control, how it can be controlled or it can be issued throughout the country, debt management issues, all the issues related with the debts and the loans and stuff like that. So there would be the function of the bank, central bank. For receiving funds, same I just told you, if IMF is providing you the funds, and who is responsible for that? State Bank. Marketing payment, he is making, sorry, making payment. If we are supposed to pay back the money to the lenders, IMF हो गया, World Bank हो गया. So all these stuffs would be made by the central bank. Clearing checks issued by the government. Yes, if the government issue any sort of checks, to State Bank would be directly responsible for clearing it. So this is a function of central bank as well. Now, the last one is the non-traditional functions, and which is not under the traditional category. This is development of the banking system. Yes, how can we just develop our banking system in our country? That's the most interesting question. So I would say that the central bank is having the sole authority to interfere in this matter. So development of the banking system is the responsibility of the central bank. If it provides you the right strategy, a right means system or the policy, the banking system can be developed in a very good sense. So I would say before 70s, it was not so much clear. So now it has been developed so, up to some extent. So that's why banking system is very strong nowadays. Then training facilities to the bankers. Now, how can we just provide the trainings to the bankers, and the fresh bankers are there just coming up? So everybody knows at your home who trained you, your father, your mother. Absolutely fine. Same as the case if the banker is there, banker of the banks, so they would provide the guideline to the bankers, the other banks as well. This is a training facility to the bankers. Now, development of the specialized financial institutions, PICIC, then ZTPP, IDBP, and these are the institutions which can be responsible for the development in their respective area. So this is basically under the guidelines of central bank or the state bank. Then credit to priority sector is, as I just told you, this is a function. It keeps on silent mode. The bank, and I'm shocked if the Balochistan is not getting the progress on the development. So I think there must be the involvement of the central bank. They should fix a typical amount for that, and then government should have the guideline from the state bank. How can we just improve our the biggest? I think I would say the biggest and the most expensive province of our country. So we can do a lot of good products in this scenario. This is a development of the banking system, as I just told you, and this is all about that. Commercial bank reserves internal banking for the Pakistan banks. allow foreign banks to open new offices in our country, and remarkable growth. And this is under the commercial banks. Microfinance, SBP promote microfinance. Now, Finca Bank is there. A lot of banks, they are just providing the micro financing activities and facilities to the people. Then facilitated two microfinance banks. Kushali Bank, that's very common nowadays, set up in the public sector, which is under the government. Government जिसको public कहते थे हम लोग. Then first microfinance bank है, FMFB, and set up in the private sector. This is for the private sector. Paid up capital required for the commercial bank. इतना commercial bank को paid up capital चाहिए उसके लिए, उसके जो working conditions के regulations को पूरा करने के लिए, and that is for the microfinance. Promotion of the Islamic banking, which I think just नाम का ही है जी वो Islamic banking, लेकिन it provides the facility of the Islamic banking. अब वो कहते जी कि conferences, they just conduct different sort of the conferences, seminars, presentation, workshop, etc., etc., and that develop better coordination. Yes, and under this coordination, the better results can come out, and that is because of the central bank or the state bank. Training facility to the bankers, it includes Institute of the Bankers Pakistan, the IBP जिसको बोलते हैं हम लोग. Training departments हैं, NIBAF है, NIBAF. Training on the Islamic banking, training on the rural finance. How can we just improve this? Then scholarship for the PhD, all the financial activities which are just going on inside the economy. So sometimes a major portion of the PhD scholars are there. So central bank provides the funds to them. This is very good. Institute of the Bankers Pakistan, IBP, start functioning from September 17, 1951. याद रख लीजिएगा, this is for you. And the governor elected as a president, and SPP have local offices of the institute which organize seminars, short courses, etc., training वगैरह के भी हवाले से. And then these are the things. Scholarship, as I just told you, to me, the professional qualified personal scholarship are available. Many more PhD scholars are just working with the SPP. So just because they have funded for that. And then scholarship available for the domestic candidates from PIDE inside the country. अगर आपका होता है तो फिर PIDE. Development of the specialized financial institutions to meet the financing need. Various specialized credit institutions are designed. Example, PICIC, as I just told you, ADBP, HBFC, and FBC, House Building Finance Corporation, वगैरह वगैरह. Credit to priority sector introduce various credit schemes, mandatory, and the concessionary credit is about to 50% of the total private sector credit. Objective is to increase the efficiency in all sectors of the economy, let the market forces decides the proper allocation of the resources. This is all about what we have just covered over here. Students, today's lecture, you have seen the different sort of the activities what we have performed. In the first half of our lecture, you have covered the offers or the product offered by the commercial banks or the other banks to us, and the different forms, whether state current account was there, the saving fixed, and other things are there. So in the second half, we have to cover the functions of the central bank and the state bank of Pakistan, what sort of the facilities they are just providing to us. So that is all about today's lecture. Hopefully you have understood what we have discussed over here. Even then, if you feel any sort of discomfort, you can just come up with the different sort of the questions you can ask me later. And I'm just putting an assignment to on your portal. You'll have to just complete this assignment within the time period, and no more extra time would be given to you. And in the next class, a quiz for the both the slides what we have discovered over here, that would be conducted, and every student's presence would be mandatory, inshallah ta'ala. And if somebody is not coming, so I'm not liable for that. And if their deductions in the session marks would be there, So I would prefer everybody must be in the class. So hopefully you have understood what we have just discussed over here. And inshallah ta'ala, see you in the next class. Take care, all of you. And Allah आपको अपनी हिफ्ज़-ओ-अमान में रखे. Allah Hafiz, and see you in the next class.